Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually had a very special opportunity to go check out Star Wars Outlaws early. I had a chance to go play 4 hours of the game, and I want to give you guys a full-on, in-depth review and what I kind of think about the game. If it's worth it, if it's not, and a lot of kind of things I liked, but also disliked. So first and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to Ubisoft for the opportunity, and I'm going to try my best to give you guys the most unbiased review I can. I play a lot of games on my Twitch stream, and obviously I've had a chance to get a lot of cool reviews as well for many other various games, so I think I have a pretty good take on what to expect. So I'm going to be basing this review on two separate kind of demographics. Number one is that you can go and play this game day one with the $17.99 premium option with UPlay. So I'm going to probably have a lot of those thoughts in mind, because in my mind I'll put that in an $18 game that you can most likely finish within a month or two. You can also buy the game individually, on consoles, or just if you just don't want to have to deal with UPlay or have an account, and it will be a $70 game. So in these kind of core factors, I'm going to give you guys the heads up. I would probably put this game at an $18 UPlay price point, around a 7.8 out of 10, if I had to give it a proper rating. There was a lot of things I liked about it, and in all honesty, there wasn't that many things I disliked about it. Although there are a few things that I think they were played a little bit too safe, can maybe get repetitive, and of course there's a few things I wish there was a bit more of like a dynamicness to the systems themselves. I do feel like the game is relatively safe. I actually did enjoy the actual gameplay itself. I do also want to go and say I'm not usually someone who gives a 10 very easy, so like a 7.8 I'd say is relatively pretty good. Like, not like a oh my god best game of the year, but one of those, if you like Star Wars, you like a new take, and it's not really that bad, I'd probably say it's pretty good. Now, I will go and downgrade that rating though, and maybe put like a 7 on the $70 price tag for a lot of things we're going to go over throughout this video. So I think the game itself is good. Great game. I liked a lot of elements of it, kind of disliked a few, but overall I think it was going to be a game you guys will most likely enjoy. So I'm going to go break this down to a few, maybe 5 major big categories of what I kind of factor in a lot when it comes to games as a whole, and ramble on into them, which will be on the environment, like the general Star Wars vibe, if it kind of felt that game, if it's unique and cool, as well as also space combat, because any type of Star Wars game is always important, and it does actually have space combat, and of course as well the characters, because the story, the characters, and all of that is very important. I will say this was only based on 2 different segments, one 3-hour segment where I was able to do anything I wanted to in one of the more earlier parts of the game, and then a 1-hour segment in the second part, a little bit deeper into the game itself. So I did have a little bit of variety too as well. I also want to go and talk to like more of the gameplay and upgrade systems and kind of what I feel about, and of course obviously the quest, and it kind of ties into everything as well. So my first kind of big thing I do want to go and say as well, the game is a little bit more stealthy than expected. When I first went to the game, I was expecting a lot more like kind of hardcore gameplay, nitty gritty, or maybe like role-playing element. It's a little bit more on the stealthy side, so you guys all know. So first and foremost, the environment. Now there's 2 different types of environments for the game itself. Number 1 is like the overall world vibe, and then number 2, there was a lot of individual segmented things, because it's open world at times, but most of the open world was kind of more toned down into a few specific areas. So first to go and talk about the open world. The open world itself was relatively kind of empty. Like, there was a few things and a few quests and side quests that you were able to go and push into, so it wasn't fully empty. But at the same time, it wasn't like jam-packed with like things and interactables everywhere, but there was enough where it felt like I was exploring the planet and I was involved. I can't really go and knock it too hard. I enjoyed the experience of it. Like, it didn't really feel like I was too much of slogging. Of course, granted, there's only a few hours of gameplay, and kind of said the same thing when it came to Starfield. Starfield was cool for the first few planets, and then you kind of realize it felt more empty and lackluster, so I'd have to maybe wait and see for a little bit longer to see if that kind of keeps that same vibe. Maybe some planets might even be a little bit more like toned down, etc. But there was stuff, there was side missions you were able to explore and interact with the characters in the map, although it did kind of feel a little bit kind of just very basic-ish on some regards of interactabilities and all that, but it did feel like there was stuff ongoing in the world. So that's why I'm saying a lot of average. Like, average isn't not always bad. Like, sometimes you just want a nice, easy game that you're kind of walking into and you could enjoy it. And I feel, once again, this is a very good average game. But yeah, there wasn't really that much. What I kind of chanced to experience, there was like one major big central city you go to, which had a few of the different types of factions, which I'll get into later on. And like, it was a good experience. Like, it was cool. There was like stuff going on, like shops. But at the actual like looking through the game core gameplay, there wasn't that much. It's like it's a lot. It acts like there's a lot going on, but not really. But that's okay. Like, you're kind of more so kind of struggle towards the important part either way. And like I mentioned, the open world, there wasn't too much, but it lets you go to different towns and hubs, which I'm sure as you can play through the game or progress, due to the fact that I only had a few hours of playing the game, it'll probably get a little bit better over time. Or have a chance to go and have different characters involved or different areas you have to get to explore. So I'd probably put that at like an okay. Like, I've definitely had more interactable open worlds, but I've also had a lot worse too as well. So once again, very good. I'm gonna say average a lot, but it's like a good average, where it's a inoffensive average, if you will. But I could also see that a lot of this could get repetitive, mainly because if you do a lot of similar like actions or kind of vibes, you kind of get the overall vibe of how to interact with the world. I could see that being a little bit hard. There might be a few small-ish spoilers, but it is cool because you can interact with different things on every area. Like, you can kind of go through different routes on small missions as you're infiltrating things, but at the end of the day, you're kind of still working towards the same objective. But you could also go guns blazing if you would like, but I do think it seems very I feel like it's more fun to kind of enjoy the stealth aspects of it. But a lot of the vibes, after I kind of played for a few hours, I realized it's kind of somewhat similar, but I do appreciate the fact that there was other options. And as well, I think it's cool. But then, so it's like nice. It's all around nice. There's a little bit to do. It's not the most basic, but it's not the most in-depth. It's not the craziest RPG, but it is a Ubisoft like Star Wars game, so it's not bad. Now, the next part would probably be more on space. Now, space was pretty cool. It was vibey, but there really wasn't too much to explore and experience. I've had a chance to check out like some side quests in space, and it was cool to see like debris and all that, and maybe do casual fights. But the fights themselves were pretty basic. You lock on, you shoot, and then you go from there. It's really hard to do more when it comes to a game. I get that. So if you enjoy just Star Wars as a whole, you'll like it. Gameplay-wise, it wasn't the most impressive, but it wasn't that bad. But there wasn't too much of a reason to do like space combat, at least from what I saw. So overall, I'd probably say the environment, cool. Like, it does feel like a Star Wars game. It does feel unique, and you do feel like you're in part of the universe. And I think they did a good job on it. There was also a lot of small individual like details in the world too as well, which I do kind of focus on a lot. Animation-wise, character-wise and stuff was good too as well. So this whole thumbs up. I do also want to say too, when it comes to the gameplay, and it's kind of what I was tying to before. There is multiple paths, multiple different areas you can go through in most areas, and there was different environments. Like, at one point, you're like on a spaceship. You're exploring, you have to stealthily go through and complete the mission, or are there like various things sneaking through like tunnels. Like, it is cool, more stealthy, like I said, than I expected, but I can also maybe see stealth gameplay getting a little bit repetitive. Some good examples is that you had your cute little buddy with you, and you're able to utilize him as kind of a surprise attack, and that kind of makes and like staggers the basically enemies walking around. And you run up to him, you press X, and you attack him, and that was probably the most efficient way I went through most of the battles. Same with using guns. You would typically alert people, so you're not really using guns too much unless you're using like guns blazing, and sometimes you just completely fail the mission if you are noticed. So you're not really doing too much different stuff. Like, you have a chance to like kind of divert people and like turn off cameras and like make sounds that kind of make people draw their attention over there, which is cool. Like, you need to have different ways to entertain people throughout that one, but I could see if you do that same play style, and this may just be a preference thing, it can get boring over time. Now, I don't mind that. I just more so skew towards like a guns blazing type play style, but I do like the fact that you can calm down, you can go and see stuff, and it was fun. Like, I still enjoyed it even if it was more stealthy. But like I said, I could see some of that being more on the boring end, depending on how they do it. For my 4-hour thing, it seemed like it was kind of basic. You run up to people, you sneak around, you try to go and like alert them and scare them, take them out, punch them out. And there wasn't that many big gun like basically changes too as well. You can upgrade your gun, but it seemed as well like you could also pick up guns throughout the map. I feel like I only saw like 3 or 4, like a sniper, an auto rifle, and a few other very smaller things. So nothing crazy, but it was out there. Now, as well, when it comes to more of the characters, I do want to say the characters, once again, are back on that basic, like average-ish, but the good average. They're inoffensive. They did have their own personality, so it didn't seem like every character is like annoying or weird. I don't think there is a single character I did not like. I think the villains, or like the, I guess, whatever the proper word for it is, like the people that are involved in the story that are maybe good, maybe bad, we don't know. They were always pretty cool too. Like, they had a good variety, and it kind of felt like every area had its own individual vibe and storyline. I'm sure it's a lot more in-depth when the game comes out, but like, I thought it was cool. Like, the characters were memorable, the personalities weren't annoying, and that's, I think, I'd rather once again take inoffensive like average. That's okay. Like, you're just enjoying the vibe and enjoying the game. than like an annoying character or someone who's like, wow, you like just making annoying sounds, or you just don't like them or whatever. Some games do that. And once again, this is very inoffensive, and I like that. I think for this game, that works. Because Star Wars is a very strong IP, and you don't want to try to take too much of the charm away from Star Wars, or the Star Wars characters, or the worlds and all that. And I think inoffensive is smart. You know, kind of let just people enjoy the sci-fi experience of the game, and you just, you know, you just roll with it. Like, it's fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, maybe over time characters might get annoying or strange or weird or whatever, but throughout a 4-hour period, I did not have a character I hated, which I think is good. Like, this game is, I know, honestly, probably a little bit better than people expect. Like I said, I'm usually more of a, maybe I'll like rate it to more of like an 8 just to make things easier, because I think a 7.8 is a little bit harder. So maybe on more of like usual person scale, I'm more of like an 8. Because like I said, I'm a little bit of a stickler when it comes to games. But like I said, it's cool, it's nice. Now, there was a lot of quests, but it didn't really feel like quests seemed too worth it when it comes to games. Maybe for the RPG elements and the lore, I could see that. And there was a cool thing called like an honor system. The honor system itself basically was like, if you're doing quests for certain people, it may make other people upset with you, may make more benefits for you if you work with someone and make them really like you. It can kind of close down certain areas or let you walk through certain areas and stuff, which I thought was a cool addition, and I think that's going to be a big premise throughout the entire game. And there was side missions and things and objectives for you to go explore throughout the world, and like it was nice. Like there's actually stuff involved in the game overall. So if I wanted to give it and make it kind of quick and easy, because we might have a chance to show some gameplay too as well, and the separate just want to see unedited footage, but like I think the game was nice. What I recommended at $70, it's a little bit harder to recommend, and that's where my rating system gets a little bit weird, because it was a good game, but I could really see it getting repetitive over time, and maybe wishing it was a little bit more in depth on the RPG side. And once again, I'm not the biggest fan of stealth gameplay, although the stealth gameplay was done well. Or maybe, like I said, some characters might get annoying over time, or certain actions or repetitiveness might get a little bit too repetitive. But for my like 4-hour experience in my 2 separate areas, I think it wasn't bad. Like, I don't think I got too bored. I'm still looking forward to the full release, which I think is a big important thing. And I do think overall, while it may be an inoffensive game, it was a well-made inoffensive game, where the inoffensiveness wasn't offensive, if that logic makes sense. Because sometimes trying to play too safe is boring. Sometimes trying to be too safe is, you can feel that they're trying to feel too safe. But I feel like there was charm, there was personality. They actually cared about the game, and I'm kind of excited for it. But I'm also like not someone who's super hardcore when it comes to Star Wars. I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm not going to be someone who's going to be nitpicking many various things in the worlds or planets or characters or lore or whatever. But I still like the game nonetheless. So at the end of the day, I'd probably go and say it's worth playing. I think for an $18 Ubisoft Plus, if you picked it up, you beat the game in 1 or 2 months, I think you'd enjoy it. I think you get good value out of it, and I think they did a good job. Like, I think the game itself looks nice, the animations look good, the characters look pretty, and I do think the gameplay is, they did try. Maybe got more in depth over time, but I'm not really sure, but they tried. And I think that this is something that's making me happy with Ubisoft, where over time, if they kind of like let them have passion and let them try things out and maybe get a little bit more in depth, like not as crazy as Assassin's Creed's gotten, but maybe kind of ring it back a little bit, I do think there's a chance for Ubisoft to have another like good run and let people enjoy their games a lot more. And I will say, I did enjoy Star Wars Outlaws. I enjoyed the game. $70 might be harder to recommend though, because once again, all these small issues, it's cool but basic, inoffensive but basic, and of course as well, like, it depends on your preference. So what I would say, if it looks intriguing to you, maybe get Ubisoft Plus. I don't think you'd be mad about it. I think you'd spend your money well. Like I said, $70, I'd maybe wait for a sale. Typically, Ubisoft games do go on sale pretty quick, and I think if you got the game on $30 on your console, I think you'd really enjoy it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my review. I did try to be a little bit better on this one, and of course as well, if you guys did appreciate the video, make sure you guys are subscribed, leave a like, and all of your thoughts down below. I appreciate you guys all very much for watching, and hope you guys all enjoy the game.